You know, I you know, I really think this game is still about the players, and they battled. They taught themselves that they know how to win. It was a unique day for me on two fronts. Scheduling has a lot of us coaches still are parents. I had my son with me all day throughout all the meetings and meals and all that stuff. So it was a good experience for him. My daughter turned 15, so it was kind of a really unique way and day to get your first win as a college head coach. But the locker room afterwards was electric. A lot of excitement, a lot of belief. So ultimately, it's a core memory for my son, core memory for me. Great day.
You guys have been involved in so many close games this season. How much did it mean to finally come out on the winning end of them?
Um, it means everything. I mean, as every coach on here will tell you, you go into the season and you don't know what your team's going to be like. You have confidence in your players, but you got to go out there and be battle tested. And couple that with the fact when we have these Ivy games scheduled, and you don't have any tape of them for the season. It presents a couple problems. So the fact that we battled through that, made a play to end the game, made a couple big plays to kind of extend ourselves in the lead. It was really a big deal.
Question for you from Tiffany Williams. Go ahead, Tiffany.
Good morning, Coach. Job on the win. How would you evaluate your team's execution and overall performance in securing this close win victory?
I think defensively we were very good, reel to reel. We played really well in the second half of the New Haven game and felt that if we could continue that type of defensive performance, we were going to be, a tough, battle-tested unit. Offensively, there were some struggles running the ball. We were committed to run the ball. Really, the last 2 weeks, we just, the New Haven game got away from us. We had to throw the ball. So there's a lot to improve upon offensively and special teams wise. This was really the first game that I thought our special teams units played very well. Helped us with field position, pinned them back a couple times. So a lot of work to be had and done, but happy with a lot of the what's going on.
I can follow up, Rob.
Yeah.
What are three takeaways from this game that you hope the team carries into upcoming games?
Defensively, continue to rally and fly to the ball and get it on the ground. And be opportunistic when plays happen where you can take the ball away. We showed that in this game, and that's got to become a standard, not just something that shows up, 1 out of 4 games that we play. Offensively, we got to do a better job handling unscoutable moments. Cornell presented a whole lot of unscoutable moments for us defensively, and, we got to fall back on the fundamentals we teach our players. And, on the special teams front, I took away that we can, do damage in field position. And we just got to keep, investing in that and really making that a focal point.
Let's dive into the performance from your defense that you've touched on. 260 yards, Cornell. You had the big fourth down stop in the first half, led to 3 points, and then Jay Nestis stealing the win with that interception. What did you like most about the way you guys played in that game?
Honestly, I just like their focus and their energy. We've struggled early on in games handling the opening script that guys have presented to us, and that was an emphasis going into this, and we handled it well. But from Cornell, got off the field and got the ball to the offense. But we're a pretty fast unit, and we committed to that this week. And you saw some big numbers and tackles and TFLs from our guys. So I think we're kind of finding our niche defensively right now, which is good as we're going right into the conference play. Now the offense has got to catch up.
Yeah, talk about Cam Stagio, 13 tackles, Ron Holmes for 12, two of the guys at the top of that tackle chart that you touched on. Just talk about the nights that those guys had.
Yeah, I mean, both those guys. Ron's a battle-tested, warrior. He's played for, it seems like 20 years now with all these COVID, medical, whatever. And he's a leader on our defense, and he's always playing as consistent as you'll find. And, Cam is kind of coming into his own as a player, and it's impressive. He's a big, long, strong, fast guy. And he was running sideline to sideline from our Mike position this week. So there's going to be a lot more to come from Cam. He's a talented athlete, and he also is a leader on this team.
Switch over to the offense. You lose Jack Shields in the opening half. Colin Parachek comes in and takes it over for the second half. Only throws for 45 yards, but he made some big plays with his legs late in the game. Just talk about Jack's status and how you felt like Colin performed.
Yeah, I thought, Jack came out and did not perform at the level that he's accustomed to or we're accustomed to in the game, and didn't make it out for the second half. And Colin's a guy that we brought in to compete, and he's a very cerebral player. He does smart things on the field. He doesn't put you in harm's way, and just the nature of how everything worked out with Cornell, we weren't going to get far away from what we were doing in the second half, and Colin was good with that, and he made some key plays at key moments and allowed us to extend drives. And ultimately, he made a play with his feet, which allowed us to give the ball to our running back, who made a phenomenal play to score a touchdown to kind of pull away.
Yeah, it was a big night for JoJo Uga, his best night of the year, 126 yards on 18 carries. Did you feel like he was due for one of these type of games?
Yeah, and we all the coaches will tell you how important practice and preparation is, and JoJo really had a great week of practice, and we've been trying to get him back into form from the previous season. There's a lot of people that surround your players these days, as they refer to them, my people, and tell them things that might not be beneficial to them and their performance. And JoJo was kind of running like a back that he's not for the first couple of weeks, and he really honed in on being a downhill runner this week. And the reward was the performance. And when you take coaching and you get the reward, you're a little bit more trusting moving forward. So I think JoJo's a great talent, and he had a great night, and I see him doing more of that as we move forward.
Conference play opens this week, and you have a tough challenge on the road at New Hampshire as you've started to prepare for them. What are some of the challenges they present for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's New Hampshire. I mean, they've kept me out of the playoffs a couple times in my career, and I'll never forget that. You work so hard to get to that point where you might be a valid or team with a body of work and get in the playoffs. But going to New Hampshire is always a tough place to play. I know Coach Fleming loves going in there. Rick does a good job. He gets his guys motivated. They play with great discipline. They're always really physical and strong, and they're well coached. So we got our work cut out for us. But that's CAA football. Every week's going to be a battle, and I expect nothing less this week.
The quarterback, Matt Vezza, has had a pretty solid season, both as a passer and a runner. How difficult is he to defend for your defensive guys?
Yeah, I mean, dual threat guys are always tough, and Matt does a good job, extending plays with his feet. They do a good job putting together runs for him, whether it's read zone or +1 runs. And he's getting better each week. Matt, like the quarterbacks before him, grew into the position that is a UNH quarterback, and Matt's going to be a great player, and he's still growing, and he's put good stuff on film already. So we're going to have to keep him in the pocket and defend him when he is throwing the ball, because he's a dangerous passer. So it's going to be a challenge.
Talk to that. Ask this to a couple other coaches, and I'll ask you the same question. How do you feel like the non-conference schedule that your team has played has you prepared for league play?
We've seen 4 uniquely different teams offensively and defensively. So, the CAA is a league in which, it's not really a copycat league in the CAA. We all kind of have our own different flares of offense and defense and special teams gameplay. So being able to see a diverse, schemes moving forward, allows us to kind of grow through our experiences. And, I think one of the things I'm kind of happy about is watching New Haven, Del State can beat up on people week after week. So doesn't make it any easier, but helps out a little bit as you move forward.
How have you seen your team, grow and improve here over this 4-week period?
We go out to Iowa, we battle them. It's a 2-score game with about 17 minutes left in the game, so you feel good about that. And then you come back, you play Del State in one of the oddest circumstance games I've ever been a part of. And that goes down to the wire. And then the next week you have your home opener, and you don't come out of the locker room, and you have a tough finish at the end. So, and then you play this last game, and it's a battle all the way through 60 minutes, which is what we wanted to get. So I feel like our team shows a huge amount of perseverance. They can play a full 60 minutes. They've showed us that. And they're able to adapt. So I think, moving forward in the conference play, we got to continue to grow as a team. You can't get complacent ever. But we've shown the ability to play 60 minutes. So if we continue to do that, I think we're going to be just fine.
All right, Jared, thanks so much for doing this morning. Look forward to